Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today our group will present to you the international humanitarian intervention in Kosovo. First of all, me, Karl Gading Sayudha, will explain to you the history of the Kosovo War, and then Fria will explain to you the actors who involved in the Kosovo War, which then continue with explanation from my friend Dafiryan that will explain to you about the implication and the violations of the international humanitarian law that happened in the Kosovo War. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Bye-bye. Now we come to the history of the Kosovo War. Just like any other Yugoslavian civil war, it's still the same. Mostly the ethnic tensions and of course the economic meltdown that happened in Yugoslavia created a turmoil between many and multi-ethnical within Yugoslavia. And in Kosovo, which mostly ethnic Albanian control, was of course controlled by mostly Serbian Yugoslavian government. This is create a tension between them. And that is why in 1996, Albanian Kosovo created the Kosovo Liberation Army as a response and the willingness to separate their country from the Yugoslavian Socialist Federal Republic. And this became a civil war. A civil war because they're still in one state. Albanian against Serbian. Although Albanians exist by themselves, but Kosovo is mostly Albanian, doesn't want to integrate with Albania. They want to create their own state, which is Kosovo. That is why they create this Kosovo Liberation Army. In 1996, they continue their fight, and Yugoslavia respond, of course, with mostly Serbian army. They attack and respond any violation and any attack from the KLA, and they stop any kind of interventions from the Albanian government as well. And in 1997 to 1998, as we understand, the president of Yugoslavia, Slobodan Milosevic, urged its government and its army to attack very, very hard and to pursue victory with no compromise with Albania. And he also, is what mostly becomes the highlight of the world, authorized the ethnic cleansings of the Albanians, Muslims. This create tensions, very, very high tension. The UN intervene and demand ceasefire. But of course the Yugoslavian disregard the demand. With the ethnic cleansing continues and the violence act continue by the Yugoslavian government against Albanians, and of course the KLA fought against them with all of their half. In 1998, NATO, in behalf of the world, they said, intervened, military intervention. NATO with its power intervened and bombed Belgrade, which is back then is the capital city of Yugoslavia. Now it's become the capital city of Serbia. They bombed Belgrade and sent military forces to help deter the situation in Kosovo. They fought against the Serbs as well. Even the Russian came to help to deter the situation. So yeah, NATO and Russia working together for this problem. They just want to stop everything. They doesn't want to create any more tension between the Serbian and the Albanian. And then of course, because the war stopped, and finally the Serbs withdrew their forces from Kosovo because they have been beaten by the NATO air force and military power. And of course, Kosovo finally can receive a full autonomy and then declare its independence. So that is the brief history of the battle and the war that happened in Kosovo.
As has been explained earlier, we can conclude that the main actors of the 1998 until 1999 Kosovo War were actually the KLA, or the Kosovo Liberation Army, and the Serbian forces. Other than that, other actors involved were Slobodan Milosevic, Ibrahim Rugova, Hashim Thaç, and NATO. So who are they actually, and what did they do during the war? Now let's find out the answers. Kosovo during the conflict until its independence in 2008 was still part of Serbia. So it's like Bandung, the capital city of West Java, and Cikarang is one of the region. So regarding Kosovo itself, it was a multi-ethnicity region and it is a multi-ethnicity country. And the population consists of Albanians as the majority, around 88%, and the Serbs as the minority, around 7%, whereas the rest of the population consists of Bosniak, Roma, Gorani, and so on. Regarding the ethnicity of Albanians, please don't be confused with the term Serbian Albanians or in this case Kosovo Albanians, because they're actually the same, they're Albanians. So the Albanians is spread in the Balkan Peninsula, that is in Albania, of course, in Serbia, in Macedonia, in Montenegro, and also in Kosovo. So they are called Kosovo Albanians because the Albanians stay in Kosovo. It same goes to Serbia Albanian. So these Albanians of Kosovo are mostly Muslim. On the other hand, the Kosovo Serbs are actually Christian, specifically Orthodox Christian. Now, regarding the KLA, it was founded by the Albanians of Kosovo, or the Kosovars, not the Serbs. Why? Because, of course, the one that was being oppressed by the Serbian government were actually the Albanians of Kosovo, not the Serbs. Now I will leave that for a moment and let's talk about Slobodan Milosevic. Who was he actually? So Slobodan Milosevic was the president of Serbia from 1989 until 1997, but he became the president of Yugoslavia in the following year. What Milosevic had done was quite disadvantaging the Kosovars because he withdrew the autonomy Kosovo had already enjoyed since 1974. He also replaced all Albanians officials with the Siberian ones, as well as dissolving all schools using Albanian language. So you can say Milosevic was actually the bad guy here in the perspective of Kosovo Albanians. Now in response to this, the Kosovars attempted to close any places related to the Serbian government and they tried to set a new government. So it was a time when the name of Ibrahim Rugova emerged. It is said that he was actually a pacifist since he was the leader of the LDK or the Democratic League of Kosovo, and the Kosovars themselves chose him to be the leader. Then Rugova sought a more peaceful way to settle this issue, but it failed. In consequence, the Serbian government, especially the Serbian forces, continued to oppress the Kosovars, and given that the KLA was established in 1996 as a counterattack to what the Serbian government had already done, and they wanted to make a more greater Albanian, not to make Albania great again. It's different. Therefore, not only was the conflict erupted due to these inherent tensions between Muslim and Christian of Kosovo, but it was also because Milosevic himself was a bit naughty at the time, you can put it that way. Regarding the image of the KLA, the Kosovars themselves perceived it as a savior because it helped them bringing independence, whereas the Serbian government perceived it as a terrorist group because it often attacked Serbian police stations and officers. So long story short, the conflict reached its climax in 1998. In this year, Milosevic had become the president of Yugoslavia, and the crime committed by the Serbian forces could not be even worse. It was as if an ethnicity cleansing in which hundreds of Kosovo Albanians was executed without trials and thousands of homes and mosques were destroyed. In the struggle of fighting back the Serbian government, a man started to gain recognition from the international world as he became the leader of the Kosovo negotiating team. It was Hashim Foch, who would soon become the president of Kosovo. Well, he is the president now. As conflict continued, an international consortium supported by NATO brought delegations from both parties into truce negotiations in Rambouillet, France in February 1999. Well, it is successful to persuade the Kosovo delegation to sign the treaty, but the Serbian delegation refused. So after this, in March 1999, NATO was like, I'm about to end this man's Yugoslavia and Serbia whole career. NATO commenced airstrike on Serbian targets before eventually bombarding Belgrade, which caused severe damage to Serbian infrastructures. This so-called Balkan air show lasted for 11 weeks. This was so horrible that Russia opposed to what NATO had already done. It is because many Russia appeared sympathetic towards their fellow, or Orthodox Christian Serbs. Ultimately, the white flag was raised in the air by Milosevic on June 3, 1999, and he allowed NATO peacekeepers into Kosovo. That is, the KFOR, or the Kosovo Force, which officially began entering Kosovo on June 12. On June 9, 1999, the Yugoslavia government and the KFOR signed the Kumanovo Agreement, bringing the Kosovo War to an end and Yugoslavia's withdrawal from Kosovo. And do you guys want to know what is more interesting? On June 12, 1999, a surprise move in which around 200 Russian troops left Bosnia, traveled through Serbia, and entered Kosovo before NATO, and they took control of Pristina airports. That's another intervention you got right there. Then what happened to the KLA? Well, it was demilitarized, and some members joined the KPC, or the Kosovo Protection Corps, which soon changed to be the KSF, or Kosovo Security Force. Rugova became the first president of Kosovo in 2006, whereas Foch became the prime minister in 2008, and until now became the president of Kosovo.
So thank you. My name is Dafi, and I will tell more about the international humanitarian law implication in the Kosovo War, both from the Yugoslavia part and both from the NATO part. So as explained before, as my friends Karl and Fria has said, the Kosovo War is an act or is an event where it is done by one of the main actors, Slobodan Milosevic, where he believed that Yugoslavia must stand strong and that the Serbian is the number one race. So all other race must usher in defeat. So basically what he does is he tends to invade Kosovo and ensure that Yugoslavia will stand again and only belong to Serbia. However, at the time, he does not account for international law, which I shall explain. The first one is jus cogens. Jus cogens is jus cogens, or in English regulatory norm, is an international law which is respected by all states, and if indeed it is broken, then it will be grave breaches of international humanitarian law. So for example, you can see that there will be no states who follow or who would believe that piracy should be done. So in the event that piracy is actually being followed, which I do believe, and the state make a resolution, then it would automatically fail, no matter what the situation is. In this case, when Slobodan Milosevic decided to invade Kosovo, he does not only kill people or adults, but also children and women, which are both respected by Geneva Convention. The first Geneva Convention, not only the Geneva Convention 1, but also to other future Geneva Convention. So as you can see, he already violated one national law. The second is, although this is more of a news thing, Kosovo decided to actually be independent, and although it's already a long time, in the UN Charter, states must respect each other's independence, no matter how, and as such, it cannot be invaded or it cannot be tinkered with at any cost. However, when he decided to invade Kosovo, he triggered a principle of international law, which is the R2P, or in short, responsibility to protect. So responsibility to protect is similar with before. It's more of ensuring that in the event that states do things badly, especially against women and children, then other states or the UN must act. However, traditionally it would happen with the UN via the usage of UN peacekeeper or the states. Uniquely in this case, NATO, or the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, decided to invade on the basis that they must protect the Kosovo people, which is quite interesting. So what happened is, Yugoslavia, in this case Slobodan Milosevic, triggered the whole NATO, and they gave an ultimatum: if indeed he does not surrender or he does not willing to change, then NATO is going to invade to ensure that the humanitarian law and national law will be ensured that it will still be there by ensuring that peace can be done. So of course, Slobodan with his ego decides to not surrender because he believes that he has the power, he has the means to ensure that they will not be able to be stopped. However, in this case, long story short, NATO decides to pull in faith with the support of many of the states, and it is also quite historically powerful due to the amount of states being involved and also the weapon and the military that is used. However, while indeed there are some kinds of truth, it cannot be fully said that NATO is not without its grave breaches of national law. In this case, NATO decided to bomb the China embassy, which cannot be done even though it is in Yugoslavia. An embassy is considered as a jurisdiction of the state which it belongs to. So indirectly, although China was not per se directly involved in the conflict, NATO decides to bomb the China embassy, which of course makes China really mad, and as a result of that action, NATO action is quite, in more words, quite thought of badly in some reason. As such, we can see that NATO not only, although they do the great thing and they're ensuring that humanitarian law can be done, they're not also without their sins. There are also some reports of NATO killing innocent people in the Kosovo War when they decide to bomb over a certain territory and they thought of this guy as a spy or as a military of the Yugoslavia. However, when later it could be seen that that is untrue and he is a merely civilian trying to be helped and trying to ask help to be evacuated. Of course, Yugoslavia play into this, and this makes NATO name more and more worse. Although that Yugoslavia war has already been done, and at the point NATO already won, both of the sides, it could be seen that they have international humanitarian law breaches, and no side is ever as holy as no one. In the end game, NATO wins, and the perpetrator is being courted to the ICTY, International Court to Yugoslavia, to mount for the grave breaches of what the perpetrator has done. And as a result, it could be seen that all of the actors, all of the military from Yugoslavia is indeed wrong to invade Kosovo. And when the sentence was supposed to be delivered, the main actor, the president, sadly, he did not make it long enough. However, it is historically because traditionally you cannot be subject of international law. However, in the case that a human break grave breaches of international law, such as committing genocide or crimes against humanity, they may be brought to international law and be prosecuted as well, usually via the use of ICTY. And in the end, this is a historic case, not only for Yugoslavia but also to the world, by enabling the responsibility to protect and ensuring that every human, no matter who they are, have to be believed that they are worth being protected. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, now come to the conclusion. Our group has presented to you the history, the actors, and the violations of the international humanitarian law that happened in the Kosovo War. We fully understand in the actors there are a lot of people involved. The KLA, the Kosovo Liberation Army, the Russian, NATO, and of course the Yugoslavian government. Mostly they are the main actor that involved in the Kosovo War. And then, of course, the most destructive things is the violation of the international humanitarian law and the violation of human rights. So you can understand, as my friend has previously explained, that the war in Kosovo is the war against humanity. A lot of people died because of the ethnic cleansing conducted by the Yugoslavian government, ordered by the president himself, Slobodan Milosevic. And because of it, well, he got the trial. Although usually individual doesn't have this kind of labeled to be a jurisdiction, but because of his order, he becomes the international subject. He becomes the subject of international law, an individual of the international law, and need to be tried. This is the violation of human rights. He ordered the violations. He ordered the ethnic cleansing, and he pursued total war, which technically could be solved by peace, mostly peace, but no, he pursued war. And of course, not talking about the Yugoslavian South only, we fully understand that NATO as well involved in the violation of the international humanitarian law. They deliberately bombed Belgrade to show off their force, their power. There will always be a military installation targeting there, but mostly they targeted civilian area. They of course bombed the Chinese embassy as well. This is what we say is a problematic things in war. They say there's a collateral damage, but we say there's a clear violation of international humanitarian law. But of course, they are the victors. In a war, the victors will not get tried, only the loser. So that is why, as you can see, it is obvious it's a violation of international humanitarian law, but then no one gets trial on the NATO side because they are the winner. They are the winning side. But in here we can see that the IHL, or the international humanitarian law, exists, and from now to the future, we fully can learn from what happened within Yugoslavia, within Kosovo, the intervention, the violations. As long as we can protect and serve the humanity and do not pursue ultimate destruction and minor collateral damage as we can, without any intention to kill innocent civilians, and we finally fulfill our purpose. Although war is not the best way, but sometimes many choose war. But as long as we can see that we do not target innocent civilians and follow the international humanitarian law correctly and do not violate any kind of human rights in the war, in many places, and we will receive our humanity. That is all from us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you friends for listening. We'll see you in the next video. Let's do that.